Ukraine is burning. Not that it hasn't been ablaze for the past 3 years, but today, just when an end to the war seemed to be near, thanks to US-led diplomatic efforts pushing for a possible ceasefire, the situation on the battleground has changed. It is dire, to say the least. Russia launched this year's deadliest attack on Ukraine. At least 34 people lost their lives. Over 100 more were injured. The attack happened on Sunday. But Sumy continued to reel from the shock attack on Monday as well. Not just Sumy, a Russian drone attack injured 8 people in the Black Sea port city of Odessa late on Sunday.
It was my shift. I got in the epicenter. Debris were flying from all the sides. It was horrible. 2 minutes made a difference. I could have died. I think I am very lucky.
Overnight attacks by Russia also sparked a fire at a petrol station in Zaporizhia. Such has been the scale of these attacks that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky issued a plea for US President Donald Trump to visit Ukraine. The incoming German Chancellor even accused Russia of serious war crimes. It wouldn't be the first time that Russia has been accused of war crimes, but the Kremlin has responded by insisting that it strikes only military or military-related targets. The question still is, does this throw a wrench in the works for peace talks? Let's just understand this, but first, have a look at these visuals coming in from Sumy. These are rescuers clearing out the debris in the aftermath of the missile strike on the city a day earlier. Here's what happened. 2 Russian ballistic missiles reportedly slammed into the heart of the northern Ukrainian city on Sunday. It killed 34 people, wounded 119 others. It is being considered the deadliest strike on Ukraine this year. Sumy's acting mayor announced 3 days of mourning for the victims. President Zelensky, meanwhile, demanded a tough international response against Moscow over the attack. Zelensky's plea coming at a time when Trump's push to quickly end the war is struggling to make a breakthrough. In Zaporizhia, a petrol station was set ablaze after a Russian attack. Overnight, Russian drone attacks sparked a fire at a petrol station. Just last month, the US said that it had reached an agreement with Russia and Ukraine on a 30-day truce, banning strikes on energy infrastructure. But both sides have repeatedly accused each other of breaking the temporary truce. Taking stock of the reports coming out of Sumy, Ukraine's allies accused the Russian president of war crimes, and they have all lined up to condemn the Sunday attack on Sumy. Germany's incoming chancellor, in fact, accused Putin of committing a deliberate and calculated war crime. He said, and I'm quoting here, there are 2 waves of attacks, and the second arrived as emergency workers were taking care of the victims. That is the response. That is what Putin does to those who talk with him of a ceasefire, quote unquote. But Russia has been accused of war crimes throughout the war. In fact, remember, in 2023, the International Criminal Court even issued an arrest warrant for Putin, accusing him of involvement in the war crime of child abductions. But exactly what are war crimes? They are serious violations of international humanitarian law committed during armed conflicts. They include intentionally killing civilians or prisoners of war, torture, taking hostages, unnecessarily destroying civilian property, and finally, genocide or ethnic cleansing. Who prosecutes? The International Criminal Court in The Hague. Leaders and individuals can be charged with war crimes and be held criminally responsible for the actions of a country or its soldiers during wartime. And those who commit them can be prosecuted and punished, no matter how much time has elapsed since the crimes were committed. But here's the kicker. Russia withdrew its signature from the Rome Statute in 2016 and is therefore not a participant in ICC nor under its jurisdiction. But Putin can be charged for actions against Ukraine, since Ukraine has accepted jurisdiction of the court since 2014. As mentioned earlier, Trump called the Russian attack on Sumy terrible. He said Russia made a mistake but did not elaborate further. Trump has been pushing for a quick end to the war and has publicly expressed frustration over the fact that it is getting delayed. Now, after the attack in Sumy, U.S. ally Poland has said that Putin is mocking Trump's goodwill. The Polish foreign minister has said, and I'm quoting, Ukraine unconditionally agreed to a ceasefire over a month ago. I hope that President Trump and the U.S. administration see that the leader of Russia is mocking their goodwill, and I hope the right decisions are taken, quote unquote. On Monday, that sentiment echoed through European capitals. Europe's foreign ministers called for a meeting in Luxembourg to discuss Ukraine. Speaking as she arrived at the meeting, the EU's foreign policy chief said ministers had to put maximum pressure on Russia to end this war. She said, and I'm quoting, it takes two to want peace. All those who want the killing to stop should put the maximum pressure. So are they right? Will Trump change his stance on Putin after the Sumy attack? Remember, Donald Trump has described Russia's attack on Sumy as terrible, but stopped short of calling out Vladimir Putin directly for the strike. He even said that it was a mistake ever since Trump was sworn back to power. He has undertaken a sharp reversal of former President Joe Biden's policy to isolate Russia. Trump has brought Moscow to the table for peace talks and has reopened cooperation between its embassies. But if what the Polish foreign minister said earlier is right, Putin appears to be mocking Trump's goodwill with Russia's continued attacks on Ukraine. And if Western war analysts are to go by, there might come a point where the US president will be forced to be tougher on Russia. Trump wanted a deal by Easter, according to reports. Well, Easter is almost here and the battleground is not looking good. The war could carry on just like it has for the past 3 years, in fact. Already the Kremlin has responded, insisting that it only strikes military targets. To quote the Kremlin, Russia strikes only military or military-related targets, but it also warned Germany's incoming chancellor, saying that its promise to offer Taurus missiles to Ukraine would only lead to a further escalation. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.